Okay, so now we're in the old house and we're kind of toward the south end of, would this be the south end of the house right here?
Well, yeah, that would be out there. We're kind of south mid or east middle.
Yeah, middle of the east. Okay, we're in the.
And this I had said was the woodshed up here. Well, no, that was my grandmother's bedroom. That was the addition. That was
Directly above us was your grandmother's bedroom.
yeah.
Is this the room? I think your daughter was saying that later on it was her bedroom.
Right. She slept in here.
Okay.
When we stayed.
And then where was that woodshed?
The woodshed is
further to the south.
Yeah. This was where they stored their wood. This would be the wood that they used in the kitchen stove. The wood they used in the furnace was stored down there by the furnace.
So now we are in the southeast corner of the house.
Yep.
And this was the woodshed for the kitchen.
Yeah.
There's the kitchen right in through here. Right.
Yeah, right here.
And there's the kitchen right adjacent to toward the lake, the west. Okay.
It has survived.
Did you get involved in cutting the wood for the woodshed?
Oh yeah.
Was that in your time as a kid? Was there any kind of power equipment for that?
Yeah, we had a what we called a buzz rig. It was a circular saw with a table, and you'd lay the logs and limbs and stuff on that table, and then chop them we'd always cut them every 16 inches because that's what it went in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then a man would be there and fling them up into a pile, and we'd pile them and let them dry, and then by the next fall we'd haul it in here.
And that was powered by the tractor?
Well, usually the team for many years. Most of the time.
The buzz rig?
Oh, the buzz rig was by a tractor or a stationary engine.
Uh-huh. But in order to get it to where you would have the buzz rig, would you cut it with how would you cut the tree down?
Well, it was after until I went away from college that they got a chainsaw here, so it was always with a crosscut.
Uh-huh.
Crosscut saw.
A two-man saw?
Yeah.
Kind of a tricky deal to work one of those things, wasn't
yeah, it is, but you learn or it'll whip you.
I bet. And you'd get the wood out of those woods where your sugar shack was?
Yeah, there and just down this way a little bit, we'd get wood out of that swamp there too.
And then you'd be cutting down big trees. How would you get the big tree down to where the buzz rig was?
Skid it with the horses.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cut the branches off and skid as big of a chunk as the horses could handle?
Right. And then we'd go back and get the limbs and everything else, and it'd be all piled there in a big pile, and then we'd bring the buzz rig out there and buzz her up.
Oh, you brought the buzz rig out to the woods?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, unless they've done something with it. The buzz rig was left right down there in that wagon shed. Or there's some boats I peeked in the door in there, but there was a buzz rig sitting there when we left.
The big long building across the road?
Yeah, across the road, and the one you might say farthest to the, well, there's a chicken house and then that long shed there, and in that shed it was there. I don't know whether it's there now or not.
The shed kind of on the north side of things over there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'll have to look there.
Yeah.
That would be the buzz rig that cut most of the wood that heated you folks here in this house.
Yep. Sure did.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's see, we're in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And in the corner here, which would be kind of the southwest corner,
Yeah.
that's where, what were you saying?
And my grandma had her cook stove here. It's a wood cook stove, and that's where she did all the cooking for lots of people. My brother kind of remodeled the kitchen, and they took the old wood stove out, and her sink was over there. Grandma's was, and that's where there was a cistern. It's outside there. Yeah, I saw the lid for it, and she had rainwater that she could pump in if she needed it, and then the other water we had to carry here, because there was no water piped in here until my brother did it.
That was kind of an art running one of those wood stove, cook stoves, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. There was always a bathtub in there. It wasn't that one, but I say always, ever since that I can remember. But it didn't, of course, have any running water to it. But they would heat water. The old wood stove had a reservoir on it, you know. They heat water in the reservoir, and they'd carry it in here and put it in the tub, and they could take a tub and then they had a drain that ran out.
And this here, what room would you call this?
They called this the dining room. I think in the original house this was the kitchen, because see, there's the chimney that on the other side the stove plugged into, and you can plug into it on this side. And so I think this, in the original house, this was the kitchen, and then they built that room, added it on, and this room added it on.
The more recent kitchen you're referring to,
Yeah.
and the bathroom?
Well, yeah, I'd say the bathroom and this, my grandma's room out here was added.
Oh yeah, the bedroom that we were looking at before from below.
Yeah.
Is a later addition.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this was the living room.
Was this commonly used, or was it more of a formal room that
No,
was?
it was commonly used.
Did you have rugs in here?
Yes, they had a kind of a big carpet that came within 6 or 8 inches of the walls all the way around. Back, you know, when I was a kid.
And this looks like the trim that was here, or
Yeah,
going quite a ways back.
yeah, it's the only thing I can remember.
I have to find my light here.
Oh, you need it, right?
Well, yeah, there's one on here, but I can't find the switch. There we go.
Yep, that's, I turned around. And this was, well, I don't know, I know my grandpa was in here when he was, you might say, terminally sick. If he just got put in here for that reason, because I think both grandma and grandpa slept in that other room.
And do you recall at all what this room might have been used for before he was in here?
Well, I think it was always a bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just somebody's bedroom.
Yeah.
Now we're upstairs in the newer house. Up at the top of the stairs, nice little, just kind of an open room for...
Yeah, this was always referred to as a hall,
Uh-huh.
but, you know, it was big enough a person could have, and they probably did when they had several hired men here, have a bed in here. There was a bedroom there.
You recall who used this room when you were a kid?
Well, when Grandma and Grandpa were just living here, there wasn't hardly anybody, but Bill and Jack and Bob Barrett stayed here. And I don't know which was which, but they did do it. When my dad was a young man, before he got married, that was his room.
Oh.
You can see, this is some of the remains of it. That was a carbide gas lighting system they had here for. It was before my time, but
The lamps hanging on the walls where that came out?
yeah. And the carbide gas, the carbide tank was outside, and
Closet? And this was somebody's bedroom?
yeah, this, I don't remember for sure, but it seemed like they always said two of my aunts would have stayed in here, but of course that was a long time before I got here, and then later on, I remember it as a hired man sleeping in here.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's the garret out there over the kitchen.
it's what?
A garret, they call it.
Garret.
Yeah.
Now what do you mean by garret?
Well, it's just a place up over, see, it's,
Like an attic?
yeah.
And it wasn't utilized for anything?
Just storage.
You did
Yeah.
use it for storage?
Yeah, there was an awful lot of old letters and such as that in there, and I remember my dad cleaning it out. We should have went through it a lot more carefully, I think.
Yeah, you don't know where any of that is now.
No. No, I don't know. There's a register there.
Okay, over in the living room here, we can see
That register.
a register. Oh, that's a nice old register. I'm glad
Yeah.
that's still there.
Yeah.
And that was connected to that heater in the basement, and just by convection, the heat would rise up and come through that register?
Yeah.
Okay.
And particularly when it was a wood heat, I think the new oil heater is hooked in there too, and then in that case it would have been forced air.
I see.
But it was, but that's, I mean, my grandma used to sit in the wintertime right there in front of that because it'd be warm.
Nice warm spot for her.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this, it seems to me that's cold air that's supposed to go down there.
That was the cold air return.
Yeah, and maybe, I think the old register was right there, and they put this one in, would be the new register to the forced air, and that's why I wondered if the forced air was even hooked up to that register, but you can see the square there?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think happened.
Okay.
Yeah, my grandpa Pete was a great one. He made cider and wine of all kinds of stuff, and he had a shelf right there, which they evidently took out when they put the water heater in. But he had it right there, and that's where it was sitting full of bottles of wine. I can remember that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dandelion wine and blackberry wine and grape wine and.
Jeez, don't you wonder where they found the time for all those pursuits on top of everything else?
Yeah, well, I guess they didn't know anything but the work. That was their fun.
Yeah. The dandelion and grape were the main ones that you recall?
Well, blackberry and raspberry and that's all. And then of course cider. He makes cider. Now you wouldn't can cider, but or bottle it, but he bottled the wines.
Yeah. Now was the cider just regular cider, or did he make hard cider?
Well, it started out, and then he let it harden.
Okay.
One of the old kitchen chairs.
Is that the chair the type of chair that you remember
Yeah, they had them up in the kitchen.
that you had there?
Yeah. Yeah, boys they probably like. Yeah. See.
Orange red.
Yeah. See one.
The hardware is really interesting. Did you have people someone who was a blacksmith out here that made a lot of your hardware?
Yeah. Yeah. There was.
Because I know there's a blacksmith shop over at the Martin Dash farm.
Yeah,
And I don't know if you had a blacksmith right here too.
Well, Charlie Crop from Good Harbor, he worked here a lot.
So he probably did a lot of blacksmithing.
You had a forge right here, didn't you, George?
Yes.
Okay. Was it in the shop or?
Yes, it was in the
Okay.
shop. I've got it.
Okay.
Tell you what, Holly, why
My
don't we
dad
take
took
turns and we
a
won't take the dog
course in
around.
blacksmithing at the Michigan State.
Yeah.
And he was good at it, but the smoke got to where it bothered his
Look at
His
the
lungs,
chest.
tool.
yeah.
So he didn't
George, what do we
do too much of it.
Oh, I'll check this out.
what do we have here?
Oh, that's a hame for a buggy harness. So in other words, if it would be just horses that you were going to use in a buggy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why it's so thin and
Yeah, like.
And tooled.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
a hame, right?
Uh-huh.
That's what I wanted to name Oren, but John Dale wouldn't go for it.
What is it? He
said, "That's not a name."
Yeah, that would have been nice. Yeah, we're gonna keep the dogs out of there, just in case there was something
bird in here.
they shouldn't have, so.
Are still here.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that the sink out of the pump house? Or is that the sink out of Grandma's house?
No, that's the sink out of your grandma's house.
Yeah, okay, so that's the sink out of
Yeah.
Grandma's house.
Yeah.
Single basin, Polly, with
Oh.
the,
Yes.
That's the old cream separator there.
Is that the thing she was saying was the sink, or you mean there's a
the
sink too?
is right there.
Oh, okay.
the chicken.
That was in the
we checked it
in the
out.
kitchen.
Yeah, it was in the kitchen of our house up there,
Mm-hmm.
and then they replaced it with that sink that's there.
And let's see. Oh, this was a separator.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's, well, I suppose all the, the discs and all the stuff that went in there to do the work, the spouts and all that were probably in the milk house and burned.
Oh. Did you end up running this thing much?
Oh yeah, yeah. We for years after they went out of the milk dairy business and we just milked cows, 12 to 15 head. Why we separated the cream and sold it, and so of course it all went through that.
Wow.
Mom, where's the battery at? Is it? It says.
This is a pump jack that was
It says 20 meter.
in the milk house that pumped the water until when it changed to the submersible pump.
Which is the jack?
Right there, those
This?
gears? Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Here's that old oil can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember it.
This looks like it's brand new.
Oh, this is one of the
Power point.
teeth, yeah.
Power point, and that's the depth wheel for the plow.
So what did you call this building?
This is a granary.
Granary.
Now this was moved down from the old barn up there. They pulled it down here with a team of horses.
You mean the earlier barn than
Yeah.
the one that the foundation is still here from?
Well, you remember the barn where we were standing there in back of the old house, and I said to you that the barn was out there and the yard came right in?
Oh yeah.
Okay, this granary was up there.
By the barn?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then when they built this barn, they pulled it down here.
Do you have any idea why they had the barn over there close to the house? Why did they decide to make a new barn over here on this side of the road?
Well, I don't know. My dad decided that he didn't like having the barn that close to the house.
Flies and
Yeah.
that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Boy, though, that's quite a job.
Well, and of course that barn was in bad shape. So he decided that they had to rebuild the barn, and since they were rebuilt down here, and they built a lot bigger barn.
Yeah.
And these, well, this at one time was across here in a bin, and we put oats and some, and wheat and some, and rye, sometimes rye.
Well, for example, would this wall here have been all the way up to the ceiling?
Well, we could raise it. We usually had some short boards around,
Oh,
but about that deep across there, about up here, would be about as deep as we stored the grain.
oh.
You'd have to kind of
Look at the patch job here.
watch it, for moisture that after we thrashed, we'd always run our hand down in there
What they might have used.
to be sure it wouldn't get hot.
I see.
Well, he probably sewed them, or sewed some of them, maybe grandma
Yeah,
did,
patched on both sides.
maybe mom did.
Need to, show that to,
Isn't that interesting?
yeah,
Yeah.
Use the old ticking, as they call it, maple patches.
yeah. We've got George's dad's last
Let the
jacket.
cameraman see the
Wow.
Yeah, but it never worked too good as for grain. It ground it too coarse.
How was it powered?
We had to have an old stationary engine down there and a belt come up. Turned it. There's the pulley right there.
And you were saying out there in that other building, that'd be east of here, right? Or the room to the east?
Just a minute, hon.
Right down in there.
Yeah. No, what was there?
That's where the fanning mill was, and
Yeah, and it's still in there.
oh, it is.
Yeah, it's still in there. I just
And-
opened that door.
George and I were just talking, my dad's first chainsaw was a David Bradley. Well, this is a David Bradley, so this came from Montgomery Ward, the catalog.
Was that their brand name?
Yep, David
Wards,
Bradley was
David
on
Bradley?
there. Yeah.
And then what is this exactly?
It's to grind grain.
The ground, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Colt, let's get a picture of each other.
You know,
Okay.
that says David Bradley
Draw!
Manufacturing Works, Bradley, Illinois.
Well,
I bet Ward's bought them then.
Ward's either bought it or that's who they whose line they carried.
Hey, yo!
Yeah,
It's an elevator.
yeah, the hired men in the wintertime, a lot of them that stayed here would just work for room and board. And of course they had to have something to do. And one of them was kind of an inventor, and he invented this grain elevator that he could transfer.
Wow.
Now, do you mean this is in place the way it was, or is it just sitting here?
It's just sitting there.
So it would run at an angle up into the bin?
Yeah, and some of the time when they had this mill working, it would go down and go up, and there should be
It's got like a conveyor belt in it or something?
yeah. Here's oh yeah, this was hooked onto it. See, it went up
Oh, it's like a
that.
chute, so you
Yeah.
can direct where the grain is going to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you recall who that hired man was?
I think it was his name was Stanley Darga.
Oh, Darga.
Darga, D-A-R-G-A.
Trying to think, that's a familiar name. I think there's Dargas over towards Cedar, isn't
Yeah,
there?
yeah. That's where he was from. They drive a Model A, or a Model. He had a Model T that he drove to work, and he sat on the gas tank. He didn't have a seat.
Wow.
But did you say some of them would come and live with you?
Oh yeah, they'd stay here. They'd work in the summertime, they get wages, but in the wintertime they'd just get room and board.
But they lived with you year round,
Yeah.
and just stuff like that. They really keep busy in the winter.
Oh yeah, they would. They'd do the chores and such as that, and cut wood and
Oh, they'd help with the wood cutting and
Yeah.
all that.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now we're looking up the stairs in the granary, and what'd you say?
We'd carry the grain up there and store it up there. There should be a hole. Yeah, there's a hole through right there where we'd shove it down into that bin. Can you see it there? It's boarded over, but that's where that.
Right there, there's a hole in the floor where you could run the grain down through.
Yeah.
But for getting it up there, you had to carry it up on your shoulder up the stairs?
Right.
I just got the thing on. You say you had a landing here?
Yeah, we had a landing here about, probably 4 foot or more square. And then there was a ramp ran down to where it intersected the hill over there. So you just walked down and came down the ramp right into the granary.
Yeah, so it wasn't really much of a climb from the top of that hill to get into the granary, was it?
No.
That made sense. Up, okay, yeah, I just turned it on. You say there was a corn crib here to the east side of the granary?
Yeah, there was a little passageway in between it.
Oh,
Oh, so it sat. It was a separate one that sat.
Yeah.
Oh, kind of like the one up at Crop that just sort of appeared mysteriously.
Yeah, and there was and we drive the team and wagon in through here, and then you'd shovel it up to like those little doors that are in the
Yeah.
top of that other one over there.
Tell them about the pig rubbing up against your ladder and
George you probably ought to look in.
Yeah, take
Okay.
a look in there.
Yeah, George has a story.
Oh yeah. Yeah, see there's the old fanning mill.
yeah. And how was that used?
Well, we dumped the grain in there and it would clean it. That's really what it did there. You turn it and there's a bellows in there, you see them right there?
Mm-hmm.
And it would, or a fan, and it would blow air out through there and blow out the light chaff and stuff.
Okay. That's kind of an ornate one, isn't it?
Yeah, but it had different screens. Oh, seems like that'll be one
But
here
you said it wasn't very satisfactory, huh?
somewhere. No, the fanning mill was fine. It was the grinder that didn't work so good.
And so was this room referred to as the fanning mill room, or?
Yeah, and see this was somewhere here, unless somebody ran off with it. It was the grindstone.
Yeah. For sharpening your axes and so on?
Yeah. See, this hose was out, and you could pour water in there, and then turn it in there.
This will be
Maybe it'll be in the shop, I don't know.
Well, that was a
And you're at the right
handy thing to keep it cool for
Yeah.
holding the water there.
Yep.
She dug a little hole in my brother's yard in Pennsylvania. That was a
spot. Not another privy.
Yeah, the smokehouse, and we'd
You wanna walk
usually,
over there?
yeah, okay. We usually pull it up to the house.
Oh, so it was always mobile.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we pull it up to the house in the spring when it comes time to smoke the meat.
Okay.
It would be pork and some beef. We jerky some beef in it.
Well, you know, that would be great. Now that we know that it's portable, that might be something we can repair and then pull over to the Port of United Fair and have somebody smoke fish or something in it. for the
Sure.
Port of
Well,
United
the smoked
Fair.
fish too. My dad didn't like fish,
Uh-huh.
but my grandpa did.
And I would guess since he was right here on Lake Michigan, he probably did some fishing, right?
Oh yeah, that's how he got here.
That's what I thought.
He was a fisherman.
Okay, so this would have been the smokehouse.
Yeah.
So we'd like to rebuild this.
Uh-huh.
And then this over here was,
That was a brooder house.
that was the brooder house. And where did that sit? Because this looks
Well-
like it was just sort of picked up and sat here, but did it really sit here?
No, well, it might for a while, but that was portable too, and it slid around. We take it up to the house
Right.
to have it near.
To watch for the little
yeah,
chicks while they
and
were
then
young.
when they get big enough, we wouldn't need that. We'd pull it down and usually park it over here in the yard.
Okay, like right in the center, or
Come to that side.
okay, so like toward this end over here.
Yeah.
Okay, because we'd like to repair those,
Yeah.
and so if we knew where to put them,
Yeah, right out in there. is
right in
where-
the center someplace.
Yeah, where we'd have it, and then we'd make a little chicken pen outside of that, you know.
Right, so the chicks could go in and out of the building
Yeah,
into a pen outside.
And then as they got bigger and bigger, because the other chickens over here, then we'd let them out, and they
Okay.
go out and they mix and mingle, and pretty soon
Yeah,
they'd
'cause
all be
that's
going
the-
in there.
So someplace out in here would have been where it's at,
Yeah.
is what you're saying. It might
Yeah.
be,
Let's see, there was
or like right here it's kind of high.
there was the corner of the fence. So I'm going to say we had what we called the three-corner fence with these.
Right.
It went from here down there because that was a big gate there.
Right.
You can see the latch. To
Yes,
it.
you can.
Okay. And it came over here and tied in with that fence, and that old
Right.
like, brooder
So
coop
that was
sat
your
here.
triangle, was your pig
Yeah.
fence.
Yeah.
So then the brooder house sat in here somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
Right in here somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we'll
Yeah.
know where to put it back in.
Uh huh.
And then it looked like once you go through the gate, the way the fence line is, there's an aisleway
Yes, right.
in between, like where the field was and where the animals were.
Okay, there was a lane went down
Yep.
there. And go down there just this side of the woods,
Okay.
and then turn and go right back along that side of the woods, and then turn and go back that side of the woods.
Oh, wow.
And then we can let the cattle out in that field or out in the big
in
swamp.
the swamp area. Okay. Okay.
And then we also had a lane going that way, because see there was a field over there,
Correct.
and it'd go out that way, and we could let the cattle out.
Going
We had
that way.
bars there, and we
Mhm.
could put across this lane or that lane.
Right, because you can still see the fence line out
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
And then you see the tree line. Is the tree line anything in particular, like fruit trees? Or
Well, no, that's just stuff
that volunteered and just came up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We used to, and that hillside, we planted to a lot of wheat. Now,
Okay.
and the reason it came that way, we got seed, alfalfa seed, and we planted it to wheat, and then seeded it with alfalfa,
Right.
and you took the wheat off, and there was the alfalfa.
Yeah.
The only thing is, wherever we got the seed that year, there was a blue thistle. Now, I'll be interested to see if this
It's
last
still
doesn't-
out there.
Is it?
I don't
Yeah.
know if it is or
Yeah.
not.
But anyway, that was what made it so you
Couldn't
couldn't
use
couldn't
it
stand
anymore
it
'cause of thistle.
there. So we would always just use it for wheat because
Mhm.
it wouldn't grow in the wheat. It'd be the next year that it'd grow in the grass
In
seed.
the alfalfa. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And it would grow too in the alfalfa too, right?
Yeah. Alfalfa wouldn't choke it out. It was a toughie.
Wow.
And we cut it. We thought, well, we'll cut it a bunch of times and plow it up and everything else, and then it'll kill it up.
Nope.
Come back.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that was one of those dandies that we never could get rid of.
Was this space up here kind of between the buildings and to the end of the barn just kind of used for maneuvering equipment around and so on, or anything
Yeah,
else?
In cattle, We had a fence from the corner of the barn right over there to the corner of the granary. And there was a swinging gate in there that we could come down and come in. And over here on this side, you kind of see an old road goes around that way. Well, there was a long gate across there. And then the fence came down the barnyard fence right behind the chicken house, or well, attached to the chicken house and then attached to the wagon shed, and kept on down and cornered right out there in the square from these two poles. And it was a net wire, heavy net wire fence, or woven wire, the squares.
Yeah,
you know.
like this right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then on top of that was a rail all the way around.
Yep, just like this right here.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Or is it
That's
even
put
taller
up.
than that?
The rail around there was laying on top of the
Oh, gotcha. Right on top of the wire.
post. Yeah, on top of the posts. Yeah.
Okay. Right on top of the post.
Yep. Because I can remember we had cats used to come and they like
Oh,
that was a
wow.
good long run. They could just take. Yeah. And see, right where that kind of that chicken pen goes across, always used to be there was a scales there that we could drive loads of hay or loads of grain or whatever on. You know, it was buried right there.
Scales?
Yeah.
That's to weigh the trucks and the way your
Like if
grains
you were
and hay.
selling or buying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To,
So you knew the weight.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this immediate area here, that was divided up into, there was there was at least 2 pig pens in there where we could keep them separated for various reasons.
Yeah.
Usually they have like 3 mama pigs, and they'd have from 8 to 10, 12
Little
pigs
piglets.
apiece.
Yeah.
And then those was what we fattened to go in the spring.
Right. And then how long did you use the butchering shop for? I mean, to do the butchering, how long did they butcher the pigs here on the farm all the way up until
Well,
the very end?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah. In 1958 is when I got the job in Arizona
Yeah.
with the Forest Service, and they had told me to come to work in October, and then they wrote and said they'd announced an examination, and I'd have to take the examination before they could give me the appointment. And so I took the examination, and it was in December that they called me and said, well, we have a job for you, and gave me my assignment to Lakeside, Arizona, and I was to report in the end of January. Well, so there was that fall, and I was
Yeah.
just kind of struck idle. and I butchered, oh, I don't know, I'll bet 15 or 18 hogs and probably 4 or 5 beef for different people.
Wow.
They call, hey, you butcher beef for me? Bring her in.
Yeah. Wow. So was that pretty common that you kind of help people out in Port Oneida here? You know, someone would have like a specialty, and so you kind of like a barter system or something. You butcher for somebody in exchange for like milk or for, you know, blacksmithing or.
Yeah, and also we changed help all the time. For the people that had silos,
Right.
we'd all go together on the day they wanted to fill
Yeah.
their silo.
So you'd all take turns helping each other clear your
and
fields.
the grain, the thrashing, they'd all come and we'd thrash that day here and then, or 2 days or whatever it takes. We go, and it was never really even, but like the Kellner houses and John Schmidt
Right.
down here, why they didn't have as much grain as we'd have, so it'd be uneven if they did that. My dad would cut their grain for them
Oh, I see.
because
Just
he
to-
had a binder.
Right. And so Dad would make it fair, more
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
was like you were talking about storing your car at Charlie Olson's farm. Was that the same kind of deal that he'd let you do that,
Yeah,
and you'd probably did something else in return for him?
Yeah, and he just said, oh, it don't cost much to shade that. Put it under the tree.
Okay. Do you want to walk through?
I wanted to show the boys how the trough for it.
Yeah, we thought that was interesting, and this wheel, we always think it's really interesting too, that
You know,
Well,
like
well,
the ones
medieval
all the
wheel.
yuppies.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
what that is, that's an old wagon wheel.
Oh,
And
Oops, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
They boarded it up on the sides.
uh-huh,
And let that stick out so there's a rim for the rope
I
to go
see
around.
that,
And then that's the wagon axle that goes over this way.
I see that.
And they bolted the wheel here to the axle. And then
Come here, dog. Look at it, look at it.
well, see, there's one rope there. There should be two.
Sorry, sorry.
See where that rope is?
Yep.
And there ought to be a hook on the end of it up there.
Well, the hook may just be gone,
Well, it may be.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
what with the,
But see, they were wrapped around like that and they came down here and you come clear to the floor with those
Yeah.
hooks. Sitting that one over there.
Yeah,
And then you'd pull on this and then pull them up.
okay,
And these were, the way it turned when we had the shaft all oiled, it wasn't so hard, but what one person could grab a hold of this like this and pull it down.
yeah.
And of course, they really
There's,
get
there's the hook right there.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
right there. Wrapped around that big, let's see.
There's another rope over here, George.
Yeah, there's
Oh.
a rope here with a big hook, right here.
That's the other rope you were talking about.
Okay, yeah, there it is,
Big
yeah,
hook.
yeah. And there should be a hook like that on that other
Other
rope.
side, okay.
And then, if you butcher one here, and that day we had a double box, and you'd swing him over and you'd hook him up there. And then you'd do the next one,
Oh,
and do the next one. One time it had 7 hogs hung in here.
all lined up.
Yeah.
And so you would do that pretty much like in the fall or in the spring?
Well,
When you do the
no, they
butchering?
do it in December,
Okay,
like in
like when
that.
it's really cold
Yeah,
out, so
yeah.
the meat doesn't get bad.
And see, that's where we heated the water
Mm-hmm,
for butchering. We have a big barrel here that we dunk them in.
yeah,
The pigs. The
Right.
cattle, we didn't need that. But that is, and in addition to that, why, we cook food for hogs in there,
oh wow.
yeah.
Would be like a meal or a mash or something that you would.
Yeah, you
heat
get
it
buy, you can get potatoes, seconds and colds for practically nothing. They
Yeah,
it
just
didn't
cook it up.
just, you just about say pay for the sacks and stuff, and we dump them in there. We stored them right there usually at a bin. And beans,
Potatoes
cull
you
beans.
stored over here?
Yeah, right.
yeah, for
Right
the
there.
pigs.
Cull beans too was another thing that went good for hogs. I mean, after it cooked, you'd scoop it up here and take it over, boys. Orange, or colt. Look at here, where's orange?
Right here, right above you.
Oh, up there. And see, this will swing. So when it was this way, well, the way it is now, you put a block in there by that post and hold it open. The pigs would be squealing and shoving on, carrying on in there. And you scatter the feed in there. We'd usually put some of the potato soup and all that in there and then put some ground wheat on top of it. And then you'd unhook that and there was a big hook. Should be there somewhere. And you hook it into the thing and hold it this way, and of course the pigs would dive in. Then you'd grab your buckets that you had ready and you'd come in here. See that trough there, you go over and put it in there, and there was another wooden trough, you can see some of the stuff here.
Before the pigs got you?
Before the pigs get back to you, they'd be over there eating, and you go here, see this, well, there's too much mess in there now.
Oh, but that whole thing swung open.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep.
Got it, understand. And there's a trough right there, so you basically filled the trough.
You
and
filled the
swung-
trough and then swung it
swung
that way and the
open.
pigs got to it.
Right, and then when they were done, you just swung it closed again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that way you can get it filled without having
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pigs
because
like
you
right
did,
there.
you're right, you sure wanted to do it.
They're right on you when you wanna feed them, those
Yeah.
pigs.
Yeah. But we had another trough there and then that one. This was a wooden trough here and well, you can see that right there is the back part of the trough, but the rest of it's gone. And see, that was a big door where they go out.
Yeah,
This was a sliding door. Now it's just bolted
just a
shut.
piece of, yeah.
You just raise that up and out they go. And, this was just another pig pen when we were fattening them, we had a board across here and straw in
Right, and
there.
then you must have had a couple of chickens, like layers, right there just for eggs?
Well, I
or-
think that was later. My brother did that
Did
after
that?
we quit raising pigs.
Okay, so you had a couple of chickens in here.
Yeah,
then.
and it'd go across here, but then we take that board out, and we'd let maybe 1 or 2 mama pigs be in here. They had a trough right there, but it's gone now. But see these?
And is this the one right here?
Well, that might be.
Yeah, because here's the trough right here.
And see,
Price that
see
over there.
those 2 buys down there?
Yeah.
You put those around, and then when the mama pig lays down, she can't lay that close to the wall, and the little piglets can get under there, and she won't lay on them.
Right, exactly. Good idea.
Daddy, what are these things out here?
Okay.
Well, those are like buoys. This is part of the fishing history with like Carsten Burfiend, right?
Oh, yeah.
These
yeah.
are the buoys.
That's the buoy.
Because we found a lot of fishing gear in here, and so we knew that someone in the family was a
So
fisherman.
you tie the nets to them, and this end would float up.
Okay.
Mama, what's this?
That's a grain scoop.
That was a grain scoop. Okay, we didn't know if it was ash or grain.
George, could you stand in front of that plastic so it doesn't show too much? And we didn't have a good enough camera when we were,
Is this your Twitch?